Hello and welcome to CVR News Network. You're watching CVR English and this is World 360 with me, Sandeep. The details are: a deadly strike hit a tent in Gaza City where Al Jazeera journalists are staying, killing 5 members of their team. Among the victims was the prominent reporter Anas Al Sharif. The Qatar broadcaster described the attack as a direct assault on the press freedom. The tent was used by journalists covering the ongoing conflict in Gaza. Footage from the scene showed heavy destruction and the rescue efforts of colleagues. Al Jazeera has called for accountability and condemned the strike. No official response has yet come from Israeli authorities. Human rights groups are demanding an independent investigation into the incident.
Hello.
Afghanistan continues to face large-scale displacement not only from the decades of war but increasingly due to the climate-related disasters. Successive droughts and floods have forced many families to abandon their homes in search of safety and basic resources. Despite recent efforts towards peace, climate change is creating new challenges that threaten livelihoods and deepen vulnerabilities. Rural communities are particularly affected, struggling with crop failures and water shortages. Humanitarian agencies warn that without urgent support, displacement could worsen. The ongoing environmental shocks add strain to an already fragile situation. Aid groups call for increased assistance to help affected population rebuild. The situation highlights the complex link between the conflict, climate change, and displacement in Afghanistan. A devastating fire tore through a home in Charles County, Maryland early Sunday morning, resulting in the tragic deaths of 4 children and 2 adults. Authorities confirmed the fatalities after responding to the blaze in a residential area about 55 miles south of Baltimore. One person managed to escape the fire, but the cause of the blaze remains under investigation. Emergency responders are working to determine what led to the deadly fire. The community is in shock as families and loved ones mourn the loss of those who perished in the horrific incident.
So just around 8:40 a.m., the Waldorf Volunteer Fire Department, along with several other fire departments here in Charles County, responded here to Decoration Circle North for a reported dwelling fire. Upon arrival, Sheriff's Office was actually the first to arrive. When they arrived, they observed heavy fire on the right side of the home, also throughout the home. They were immediately told that there was somebody inside, possibly several family members. They, of course, the Waldorf Fire Department arrived here just minutes later, if not just 1 minute later, and they also discovered heavy fire throughout the house. It took firefighters about an hour to place the fire under control. There is a total of 9 people that reside here. 3 of those are safely where they need to be. You have just seen the arrival of also Bureau, alcohol, tobacco, firearm agents. They are working with us on this investigation, which is standard operating procedure due to any loss of life. So just around 8:40 a.m., the Waldorf Volunteer Fire Department, along with several other fire departments here in Charles County, responded here to Decoration Circle North for a reported dwelling fire. Upon arrival, Sheriff's Office was actually the first to arrive. When they arrived, they observed heavy fire on the right side of the home, also throughout the home. They were immediately told that there was somebody inside, possibly several family members. They, of course, the Waldorf Fire Department arrived here just minutes later, if not just 1 minute later, and they also discovered heavy fire throughout the house. It took firefighters about an hour to place the fire under control. There is a total of 9 people that reside here. 3 of those are safely where they need to be. You have just seen the arrival of also Bureau, alcohol, tobacco, firearm agents. They are working with us on this investigation, which is standard operating procedure due to any loss of life. So just around 8:40 a.m., the Waldorf Volunteer Fire Department, along with several other fire departments here in Charles County, responded here to Decoration Circle North for
Religious and minority rights activists gathered in Karachi on Sunday demanding enhanced security and equal rights for the minorities in Pakistan. The rally was held ahead of the National Minorities Day on August 11th, where groups emphasized the need for the government action to ensure the safety and well-being for religious minorities. Protesters called for a crackdown on discrimination and gender representation for the minorities in political spaces. The event highlighted the challenges faced by communities such as Hindus, Christians, and Sikhs in Pakistan, urging the government to address ongoing issues. Activists also stressed the importance of upholding constitutional guarantees for minority protection. With National Minorities Day approaching, the rally served as a powerful reminder of the ongoing fight for the justice and equality in the country.
Our first demand is to end forced conversions. Second demand is that the places that non-Muslims, that the minorities have given to the city, the schools, the college, they should be acknowledged and preserved. And some of them should be given back to them that have been taken over. Third, safety and security and guarding places of worship of non-Muslims. These are the 3 basic demands, and of course security of life and equality.
तो हमारे और भी मुकामात खोल दें, जैसे दुनिया में पाकिस्तान का सॉफ्ट इमेज बेहतर हो और पाकिस्तान के लोगों में भी मोहब्बत और प्यार है। पाकिस्तान में हम रहते हैं, बड़े पीसफुल तरीके से रहते हैं।
Our first demand is to end forced conversions. Second demand is that the places that non-Muslims, that the minorities have given to the city, the schools, the college, they should be acknowledged and preserved. And some of them should be given back to them that have been taken over. Third, safety and security and guarding places of worship of non-Muslims. These are the 3 basic demands, and of course security of life.
The World Robo Expo in Beijing showcased a thrilling display of the cutting-edge robotics, featuring the robots battling it out in a boxing ring. From agile boxing bots to humanoid robots capable of changing their own batteries, the event highlighted China's rapidly advancing robotics industry. Companies from across the nation presented their latest innovations, with some robots demonstrating impressive combat skills and others showcasing impressive autonomous capabilities. The Expo serves as a platform for China's robotics sector to highlight its global competitiveness and vision for the future. The event drew massive crowds to eager to witness first-hand and potential of robotics technology in various industries, including entertainment, manufacture, and healthcare.
因为我觉得机器人产业肯定是未来的朝阳产业，然后 它确实有它的这个价值啊，能够替代很多这个人原本不愿意去做的事情，然后机器人能够完成这样很多这类的工作，这个我们觉得这个商业价值我们是很认可的，而且我觉得投资机器人永远不晚吧。
我们相信大模型可能会要整合包括机器视觉，包括导航，包括全身的运控，都会变成是一个非常整合的这么一个我们叫做端对端的大模型，这也是全行业努力的一个重要的方向。解决这个问题之后呢，我们认为工业人形机器人的一个进场的重要的难题就被解决了，它就能够24小时不间断的，无论是在黑灯工厂，就是没有灯的工厂，或者是在我们的普通的工厂，它都能够24小时的不间断工作。
对，我觉得更多的是能体现出真正人机交互吧，就是你要跟人有一个情绪价值的一个互动，因为机器人它并不是一个只有功能性的产品，它可能慢慢的也会有一些人的温度在。对。
因为我觉得机器人产业肯定是未来的朝阳产业，然后它确实有它的这个价值啊，能够替代很多这个人原本不愿意去做的事情，然后机器人能够完成这样很多这类的工作，这个我们觉得这个商业价值我们是很认可的，而且我觉得投资机器人永远不晚吧。
我们相信大模型可能会要整合包括机器视觉，包括导航，包括全身的运控，都会变成是一个非常整合的这么一个我们叫做端对端的大模型，这也是全行业努力的一个重要的方向。解决这个问题之后呢，我们认为工业人形机器人的一个进场的重要的难题就被解决了，它就能够24小时不间断的，无论是在黑灯工厂，就是没有灯的工厂，或者是
Hundreds of protesters were arrested in central London after showing support for the proscribed group Palestinian Action. Demonstrators held signs reading, "I oppose genocide, I support Palestinian action," before being detained by police under anti-terror laws. The group was banned after activists broke into the Royal Air Force base and damaged 2 military aircraft. Authorities say at least 365 people were arrested in what is believed to be one of the largest mass arrests at a single protest in UK history. Police cited laws prohibiting support for banned organizations. Human rights groups have criticized the move as a threat to the free speech. The arrests come amid rising tensions over the UK arms exports to Israel and ongoing Gaza conflict. Protest organizers condemned the crackdown, vowing to continue their campaign.
You'll protest.
Four astronauts have returned safely to Earth after spending nearly 5 months aboard the International Space Station. The international crew, including the US astronauts Anne McLean and Nicole Ayers, Japan's Takuya Onishi, and Russian cosmonaut Kirill Peskov, splashed down in a SpaceX capsule off the coast in California. The spacecraft landed at 8:44 a.m. local time, marking it the most successful scientific experiment during their stay in the orbit. Recovery teams were quickly on hand to assist their splashdown. NASA and international partners praised the smooth return. This mission highlights continued global cooperation in space. All 4 astronauts are reported to be in good health. Pope Leo XIV renewed his call for global peace during his Sunday Angelus prayer. The pontiff reflected 80th anniversary of the Hiroshima atom bomb and reminded the horrors of war. This anniversary has reawakened throughout the world the necessary rejection of war as a way to resolve conflicts. He appealed to the leaders and citizens alike to choose dialogue over violence.
Dei bombardamenti a pregare perché si ponga fine alle guerre. L'80° anniversario dei bombardamenti di Hiroshima e Nagasaki ha risvegliato in tutto il mondo il doveroso rifiuto della guerra come via per la risoluzione dei conflitti. A pregare perché si ponga fine alle guerre. L'80° anniversario dei bombardamenti di Hiroshima e Nagasaki ha risvegliato in tutto il mondo il doveroso rifiuto della guerra come via per la risoluzione dei conflitti. A pregare perché si ponga fine alle guerre. L'80° anniversario dei bombardamenti di Hiroshima e Nagasaki ha risvegliato in tutto il mondo.
A 6.1 magnitude earthquake struck western Turkey on Sunday evening, shaking several cities including Istanbul and tourist hub of Izmir, according to the country's disaster management agency AFAD. AFAD said that the quake occurred at 7:53 p.m. local time in Balıkesir province at Sindigiri district, a depth of 11 kilometers, which is 6.8 miles. The tremor was felt as far as 200 kilometers, which is 125 miles away in Istanbul, and was followed by several aftershocks, including one measuring 4.6, according to the news agency's local. Authorities urged citizens not to enter damaged buildings. The German Research Center for Geosciences (GFZ) measuring the tremor at 619 magnitude and 10 kilometers deep, according to the media. As per the media, the quake was felt across the multiple provinces in the west, but there were no immediate reports of casualties or significant damage. However, local media cited one building collapsed in the town of Sindirgi, the epicenter of the earthquake. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a press conference declared the Hamas still has thousands of armed terrorists in Gaza and intends to repeat the October 7th massacre. He asserted that Israel's goal is not to occupy Gaza but to liberate it from Hamas. Netanyahu outlined a 5-point plan for peace, including Hamas disarmament, release of hostages, Gaza's demilitarization and Israeli security oversight, and a peaceful civilian administration. He emphasized that the war could end immediately if Hamas lays down arms and releases hostages.
The truth is that Hamas still has thousands of armed terrorists in Gaza. It vows to repeat the savagery of the October 7th massacre and to do so again and again and again. It openly professes its goal to destroy the state of Israel. It subjugates Gazans, it steals their food, it shoots them when they try to move to safe zones. And I think it's instructive that now many Gazans are fighting back. They're begging us, they're begging the world, free us, and free Gaza from Hamas. No nation can accept a genocidal terrorist organization, an organization committed to its annihilation, a stone's throw from its citizens. Our goal is not to occupy Gaza. Our goal is to free Gaza, free it from Hamas terrorists. The war can end tomorrow if Gaza, or rather if Hamas, lays down its arms and releases all the remaining hostages. Gaza will be demilitarized. Israel will have overriding security responsibility. A security zone will be established on Gaza's border with Israel to prevent future terrorist incursions. A civilian administration will be established in Gaza that will seek to live in peace with Israel. That's our plan for the day after Hamas, and let me summarize it. 5 principles for concluding the war. 1, Hamas disarmed. 2nd, all hostages freed. 3rd, Gaza demilitarized. 4th, Israel has overriding security control. And 5, non-Israeli peaceful civilian administration. By that I mean a civilian administration that doesn't educate its children for terror, doesn't pay terrorists, and doesn't launch terrorist attacks against Israel. That's what we want to see in Gaza. So it's neither Hamas nor the PA. The truth is that Hamas still has thousands of armed terrorists in Gaza. It vows to repeat the savagery of the October 7th massacre and to do.
Foreign Minister Penny Wong has declared Australia's recognition of a Palestinian state as not the end, just the beginning. In a significant policy of shift announced alongside Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, emphasizing the need for the two-state solution, Wong said there cannot be lasting peace for both peoples without a two-state solution. She urged global action, stating across the world, nations have agreed that we cannot keep doing the same thing and hoping for a different outcome. The announcement comes ahead of a key international talks in September, where Wong said that the world has the chance to choose, forge hope from despair.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Well, it's been more than 77 years since the world promised a Palestinian state, knowing that there cannot be lasting peace for both peoples without a two-state solution. And in the nearly 2 years since October 7, we have been working with the international community on breaking the cycle of violence that the Middle East has known for generations. Across the world, nations have agreed that we cannot keep doing the same thing and hoping for a different outcome. We can't keep waiting for the end of a peace process that has ground to a halt. So last April, our government started a conversation with the Australian people about changing Australia's approach. We made clear we would recognise Palestine when it would best contribute momentum to peace. September is that time. When the world says this has gone on far too long. When the world says the heartbreak, death and destruction must end. The world watched in horror the attacks by Hamas on October 7, the worst loss of Jewish lives on a single day since the Holocaust.
Australia will formally recognize the state of Palestine, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese announced on Monday, aligning the country with growing international support for Palestinian statehood. Australia will recognize the state of Palestine, Albanese declared, joining recent declarations from leaders in France, Britain and Canada. The move signals a significant shift in Australian foreign policy amid heightened global calls for two-state solution. Albanese said recognition is essential for advancing peace and stability in the region, reinforcing Australia's commitment to a diplomatic resolution to the Israel-Palestine conflict.
Today I can confirm that at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in September, Australia will recognise the state of Palestine. Australia will recognise the right of the Palestinian people to a state of their own, predicated on the commitments Australia has received from the Palestinian Authority. We will work with the international community to make this right a reality. Australia is making this statement today following our Cabinet meeting as part of a coordinated global effort building momentum for a two-state solution. Over the past fortnight, I have discussed this with Prime Minister Starmer, President Macron, Prime Minister Luxon and Prime Minister Ishaba, as well as Prime Minister Netanyahu last Thursday and President Abbas last Tuesday. A two-state solution is humanity's best hope to break the cycle of violence in the Middle East and to bring an end to the conflict, suffering and starvation. Today I can confirm that at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in September, Australia will recognise the state.
Flash flooding forced the cancellation of the final day of the Wisconsin State Fair on Sunday, as relentless rainfall swept through Milwaukee and surrounding areas. Up to 14 inches of rain fell in the parts of the region, overwhelming drainage systems and triggering widespread power outages, road closures and emergency water rescues. The flooding is a part of a broader weather crisis affecting at least 6 Midwest states. Officials urged residents to avoid travel as crews work to restore power and assess damage. Fair organizers expressed disappointment but cited safety as a top priority amid the severe conditions.
I think they were like helping these people.
Hundreds gathered at Independence Square in Kiev to mourn Mikhailo Kovalev, a fallen fighter of the Azov Brigade, in a solemn funeral ceremony. The event took place amid growing debate and tension over the upcoming negotiations that may see Ukraine cede territory to Russia. Emotions ran high as citizens expressed deep concerns about the country's future and sovereignty. Kovalev's death has become a symbol of sacrifice as Ukraine faces difficult diplomatic choices. The funeral highlighted the ongoing human cost of the conflict and complex feelings surrounding peace talks.
І він казав, що він буде віддавати все за Україну. І він так само казав, що Україна починається з нього. Україна починається з кожного з нас. Його загибель – це нагадування кожному з нас, що таке Україна і як за неї треба боротись.
Зараз у нас в наступ відвоювати свої території немає можливості. Я так рахую. Але щоб люди не гинули, можна просто припинити військові дії, якийсь там договір, але не віддавати свої території, не підписувати, що ми віддаємо захоплені території Росії.
І він казав, що він буде віддавати все за Україну. І він так само казав, що Україна починається з нього. Україна починається з кожного з нас. Його загибель – це нагадування кожному з нас, що таке Україна і як за неї треба боротись.
Global markets are on the edge of Tuesday's release of key US inflation data, with analysis forecasting 0.4% rise in core CPI for July. The figures come at a critical moment as central banks around the world diverge on interest rate paths and tariff pressures continue to influence inflation trends. Investors will be closely watching the Treasury market's reaction, which could signal shifts in expectations for future rate hikes. August inflation is also expected to remain elevated according to uncertainty, with economic signals mixed with policy paths unclear. Markets are preparing for a volatile period driven by data and central banks' responses. That's the end of the bulletin.